Welcome into the Casual Gaming Conversation bonus episode for this week. We're talking Doom, the Dark Ages, one of the most anticipated games of the year. Nick, how we feeling?
Feeling great. We got to talk about Doom today, and that's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
I'm really excited to go and do this review with you, hear what you think about the game and everything. Today's been a fun day of just, I beat the game today, rolled credits on it, and I'm just excited to talk about it finally. Like, this is one of those that I think was very high up on my most anticipated list, and to go and complete it, I'm just really looking forward to having this conversation. Connor, how are you feeling?
Feeling good. Yeah, I beat it last night. Having to fit this into the schedule and make sure I get this done was a bit of a trip to make sure that I was experiencing the game to my fullest.
You did a great job.
Yeah, I didn't rush through it. Like, I didn't want to rush through it. This game is just really fun to play, and there's a lot of secrets to find. And I did 100% some of the areas, and I got high percentages in most of them.
Yeah.
So I saw a lot of this game. And before we get into it, just real fast, this episode is a bonus episode, so it would usually be posting over on Patreon, and that is who makes the show possible, our lovely members who support us over on Patreon. So if you want to support the show and get additional bonus episodes like this, you can go over to patreon.com/coop64, no dash, COOP64. If you want to get that bonus content and support the channel, support the dream, we would really appreciate that. All right. Doom the Dark Ages. Let's get into our overall thoughts. First, Nick, what score are you giving it? How you feeling about Doom the Dark Ages?
I'm giving Doom an 8. I think that this game is great. I think that this is a very, very great video game. It is just not amazing or a masterpiece for some of the knocks that I have against it, the story being one, the music being another. But goddamn, that gameplay is just so good. I'm really excited to just go and dive in on all of it with you, but it took me about 12-ish hours to beat, maybe 13. A lot of fun in the open level design. The Atlan and the dragon are good. Like, there's so much to dive in on this game, and that's why I've been waiting to talk to you about it, because I feel like this Doom game has so much more to talk about than previous entries, and some of them are really great, and some of them are a little bit lackluster, and there's going to be long-term Doom fans. They're like, I love this game, and I'm going to play it for hundreds of hours, and I'm really excited to see those people come out and be excited about this. For me, this just was overall, though, a great game. It was not an all-timer, but it definitely, that gameplay is so damn good that I could not give it a score lower than an 8.
Yeah.
Great. Connor, where are you at with it?
For some perspective here, I think that Doom Eternal's gameplay loop is on mouse and keyboard is one of my favorite gameplay loops of any game I've ever played. So when they came into this and said that it's going to be very different than Doom Eternal, you're a fighter jet, you're flying around to the arena, taking out demons. This, you're more of a tank. It's more about strafing left to right, kind of hanging in the pocket, parrying attacks with your new shield, and lighting demons up that way. And I respect the hell out of the team for not just doing Doom Eternal 2 and doing something that is completely different, but still that Doom experience. But the other things that they add into the game, I think, are a little bit half-baked, and in other instances, not very good. The story, whatever. I couldn't give you any major detail about the story, if I'm being completely honest.
We're not going to spoil the story in this, because we don't spoil any story beats normally in any review. We couldn't spoil the story if we wanted to in this, because it is very much just all over the place. Sorry to hop in.
It did actively detract from my overall experience, but it's not what I come to Doom games for. I come for the gameplay. And the gameplay in this game, while it's different than Eternal, and I still prefer the experience in Eternal, I still think that the Doom the Dark Ages gameplay loop is so fun and amazing that there was moments where I say this in the short form review where it's hell yeah, the video game, where you just do something so cool or so badass and you just go hell yeah. And I said that multiple times throughout the video game, and that's pretty punny too, because the game hell demons,
Doom, whoa.
So yeah, I think in the area that I really need it to succeed, it succeeds in spades. The gameplay feels amazing every single time you're playing as the Doomslayer. It's one of the best feeling games I've ever played. When you're in the Atlan, It's fine. It's epic. It's pretty cool, but I would always rather just be in the Doomslayer just with my full kit. And then when it comes to the dragon aspect, I actually flipped on this. At first I was like, I like the Atlan quite a bit. It's fun and it's not very deep, but like it's a good time. And then as it went along, I was like, maybe I don't like it as much. It's not progressing in a way that is keeping me engaged. When it came to the dragon, like I like the idea of these environments being like massive and like flying around in them and being able to get off and have the experience of like taking out a base and then getting back on the dragon, going flying and fighting some of the ships or whatever and doing some air dodges and everything, and then going to the next area and having that cycle. I thought was pretty cool. So overall, story, not feeling it.
Yeah.
The new aspects of the Atlan and the dragon, I think are good, not great, but that core gameplay is amazing. It's an 8 out of 10 for me as well.
Yeah.
I think this is a great video game. I do think it is my least favorite of the three, but I do think there are people who are going to play this and be like, this is my preferred Doom because I like the gameplay so much.
So I played 2016, and then I played about 4 hours of Eternal, and that was real recently before previewing the Dark Ages, just to have like some understanding of the differences and everything. So I've not beaten Eternal yet, so I don't want to like put like a stamp being like Eternal's better by any means when we're having this discussion. But Eternal's awesome of what I've played. Doom 2016 is still the Doom game for me that I'm going to be pointing people to, even though I can really heavily say I think that the gameplay, like the core gameplay in this title, might be better than Doom 2016. Like I enjoy it more. I think that it's a little bit more refined, and it has the addition of the shield, which is just one of the best weapons, period, bar none, in any game maybe ever. Like this thing needs to be studied. Like I really wish I was at id and got to see somebody go and like put that paper down and just like a drawing of a circle with chainsaw blades coming out of a shield and being like, this is going to be why this game is fucking awesome. And then surely enough, while playing it sings. It is so good. With that being said, though, I think that the gameplay might be the best here over a Doom 2016, but I think I would still point to Doom 2016 being like, I think that is a better experience overall.
They're all great. Like,
yeah, they're all great.
They're all great Doom experiences. And like I said, just in the overall thoughts here, I just really respect id for not being like, we'll just do it again.
Yep.
We already know you like this. Let's just do more of that. And it's like, no, we're going to do something that is still Doom, but still feels very unique. And this feels very different than Eternal, but still great. But still like Doom.
Yeah.
So like, I'm going to keep pointing to that gameplay experience because that's what I care about in Doom games, and all the other stuff. Like, it's a little bit frustrating that it is there because I did think that they were very aware of kind of trimming the fat off of the experience and just having it be this rip and tear gameplay awesome experience in 2016 and Eternal, that it's a little bit frustrating that I thought that they knew that this wasn't what we wanted out of our Doom experiences. But I do think that they're like, we need to take it to the next level, so we're going to add cutscenes into it. And it's like, I think the intentions there are good, but I don't think that the execution is great.
So some of the cutscenes are cool. And when I left the preview event and everything, I was like, I really hope that every single cutscene is more of what Connor said initially, hell yeah, the video game. Like, give me every single moment. I want like there to be a hell yeah moment. There's a moment in like the Mission Impossible Rogue Nation movie that I bring up all the time where somebody is describing Tom Cruise's character as like the embodiment of destiny. I'm like, that is just the coolest line that you can say about a character in general. Yeah. I wanted that the entire time with the cutscenes, and instead it was a lot of like random lore that felt very misplaced in a game that is all about the gameplay being awesome and the story being shoved to the side in 2016.
There's a lot of moments, or a handful of moments where the Doomslayer is just aura farming. Like, it's like, this guy is just so badass, and everybody who calls on him to fight, it's just like, they all know he's badass.
Yep.
Like, he's just like, just so clearly above everybody else in his skill and ability to slay demons that like everybody looks at him like, holy shit.
Yeah.
Which is awesome. But I couldn't tell you a single detail about the like specifics of the other characters and like why we were doing anything, but I don't really give a shit. I don't care.
The issue with reviewing this game, and we both gave it 8s, is we have to discuss those things.
Yeah,
like that is important. They are in the game, and it is part of that core experience. But like, if I wasn't reviewing it to some level, I would just be like, all right, and pause cutscene and fast forward and let's get back to shredded.
If they removed the story aspect and it was more like 2016 and Eternal, it would move my score up 100%. So it is a factor here.
Yeah.
It's not something like with Split Fiction where I do think that the story being lackluster is less in your face. And I just am there for the gameplay for that game for the most part. And the story didn't like actively detract, but I don't think it's very good either. I do think the story actively detracts here.
Yeah.
But let's talk about the thing that we really like. We've handled story here. Let's talk about the core gameplay because that's what we're here for. That's what you're here for.
Yeah.
That's what we all know.
Shield. I want to start with the shield. I remember previewing this and being like, I think that internally I was like, I don't want to overhype it, but I think that the shield might be one of the best video game weapons ever. And then beat this game in about 12 hours. You have the shield as like one of the core weapons. That is your left bumper the entire time. Like it is fucking unbelievable how good this weapon is.
Real fast. Nick played on Xbox Series X.
No, I played on PlayStation 5.
Nick played on PlayStation 5. More importantly, on controller.
Yes, controller.
I played on mouse and keyboard. 4080, ultra, 120 FPS.
Pumping the frames up dude. As much. Your computer was producing the best possible thing it could do.
It had higher standards that I was kind of afraid to utilize. I was like, I don't know if my PC can handle this or whatever. So but I had it on ultra and I was like, this is damn good. Like, it looks great.
Normally, just to bring it up that facet, normally everyone would say play a Doom game on PC.
I think Doom Eternal is a point worse game on controller than it is on mouse and keyboard. I think playing on mouse and keyboard is the experience.
Yeah. I think that this game, there'll be a lot of people that are like, you still got to play it on PC, and that is the experience. I'm so thankful we both did not play this game on PC, mainly because on the controller, the way that the DualSense rumbles and stumbles, and like, for me, I'm somebody that likes having the triggers have a little bit of weight and click to it when it comes to some of these weapons. And like, when there's some heavier weapons that you get in it, you are really like pressing that trigger. It feels awesome. It feels so good. And then like when you are jumping from a high area and everything, the way that the controller rumbles, I think adds to it a lot more than previous titles. Like, I think that it is very, very viable to play this one on console and get something like even more so out of it than PC. When Connor was like, I talked about the way that the controller rumbles during a moment where the Doomslayer jumps and then like drops down on a bunch of enemies, and I was like, that feels awesome. And he's like, oh yeah, I don't have. Yeah, I was like, oh yeah, that's just like something that is not available on mouse and keyboard. But then again, I don't have the whipping and pointing up and down, left, right, that comes from mouse and keyboard.
It's much less important in Doom: The Dark Ages, in my opinion. And when I said point less, I mean from like I think Doom Eternal is a 9 out of 10 on mouse and keyboard, not an 8 out of 10 on. Or it is an 8 out of 10 on controller, not a pointless experience.
Yeah, I got that, but that is a good thing to bring up.
After I said that, I was like, that doesn't sound right. But on mouse and keyboard, it still feels amazing to just be able to turn, look at the enemy, be like, you, and then do the shield bash, and then turn to the next enemy and start shooting them, and then throw your shield into this enemy to stun them and everything, and then you go back to the other enemy to shoot. It feels amazing to just be able to fly around left and right. But this game is very much about strafing rather than being in the air, which I think is a big part of that mouse and keyboard experience in Eternal, and why I think it's so much better there than it is, or as necessary as it is there in comparison to Doom: The Dark Ages. But back to let's just dig in on the shield. With the shield, you can throw it into enemies, and there's different formats or ways you can interact with the enemies. Certain enemies have shields that you have to like charge up with your gun, then you can throw the shield into it and it'll explode all of them. Some enemies have like armor that you need to shoot and it'll start glowing red, similar to the shield. You throw the shield at that'll come off, and then you can actively start shooting them. You can throw the shield into them and it'll like stun them for a period of time. And lastly, probably my favorite bit of it is being able to like shield bash into them. And this is where the speed comes into play for me, where there's like the fodder enemies that really are just there to kind of gain you back health when you
yeah.
really need it, and you can press for it's left click on or right click on mouse and keyboard, and then you can like lock onto them and just dash, fly across the battlefield and bash into them. They explode. You get all that health back, and then you turn back towards the other enemy. You throw your shield into them, and it stuns them. And you light them up. It just like it sings so beautifully because of this shield. And I didn't even talk about the parry yet.
Yeah, yeah. The shield is, like I said, it is one of the greatest video game weapons of all time. And like that's why it's so hard to talk about this video game and be like, it's a great game, it's an 8, and it's like it has one of the best gameplay mechanics ever, period, bar none. And I also, we'll talk about the parry here in a moment, I liked this game being on the easier side of things when it came to the parry and the way that the shield makes you feel like pretty powerful, because I'm like, I'm the Doomslayer. I should be the most powerful being ever. The way that people are talking about me, that's how I should feel. I did go down a couple times through my playthrough, but still, I was like, no, I feel badass. And the shield is a huge part of having that amount of control over any situation. It really is unbelievable. You want to hop into parry?
Yeah, the parry, I think that on normal difficulty is not as finely tuned as I would like it. I think it should be a little bit more difficult, and you can change the window for the parry and accessibility options. I just think that the devs should, at a baseline, set it to something that feels really good and feels right. I felt like I was getting parries that I should not be getting.
Yes.
Like, kind of to a comical sense where it's like, I'm pressing it not 3 seconds, a whole second before the parry hits me, and it's bashing it back. I just think that shouldn't be functioning that way. I did bump up the difficulty at one point, and that made the parry window a little bit shorter. And I did not feel that the trade-off of dying more and having like the actual gameplay be more difficult was worth the parry window that is shortening. And it didn't even feel that much different than it did on normal when it came to the parry. So I think if you want the parry to feel like really impactful and challenging, I think you really got to tune it way down.
I was talking to Connor about this a little bit beforehand. I was very accepting of a very easy parry because there'd be moments where there are so many projectiles coming your way, and if it's a red projectile, you can block it, but you can't parry it. If it's green, it's parryable. And there's so many projectiles coming your way that like I am going to have to lower my shield to like stop blocking the red ones, lower my shield, and then snap it back up to pop up to parry a green one, and then go back into blocking normally as these projectiles are coming my way. That I was like, if this was a lot harder, it was the parries very often are not just about like one singular line is coming at you. When it gets a little bit more overwhelming later in the game, it's like I'm very thankful that the parry window is very open.
It still feels great.
Still feels unbelievable.
It still like when you're parrying like a big string of attacks from an enemy and you're hitting all of them and you're getting that like feedback loop, feels really good.
The way that it rings out every single time you parry something it's perfect sound design. Like it is so fucking good.
And at the end of the day, you're the Doomslayer. You should feel like one of the most powerful beings on the face of the universe. I was gonna say the face of the planet, but like that doesn't even make any sense because you're the most powerful thing across the galaxy
and in hell and in everywhere. You are the Doomslayer.
Yeah. So you should feel super powerful. If you're dying a whole bunch, I think that kind of defeats that power fantasy purpose. Obviously, on a second playthrough, play on a higher difficulty and get that different experience. But for a first playthrough on normal, you should feel like you are just unstoppable. And if you're constantly missing parries, I feel like that would kind of go against that feeling. So I think that while I do think it could have been more finely tuned, I don't think it actively detracted from my overall experience.
Late at the start, I was questioning it. Later on, I was like, no, this makes sense. And I'm very accepting of where they put that parry window at. But yeah, the shield, I think we've covered our bases when it comes to gameplay mechanics. Just like one more time, it is still... this is why this game's fucking awesome. And when I'm so excited to talk about this game with people when it goes out for everyone and be like, how are you feeling about it? I think that so many people are going to be like, this is my game of the year. And it's just because the shield is so fucking awesome. And it's like, that's hard to fucking debate. Like the gameplay here is so fucking good that if you really ignore everything else when it comes to some of these aspects, sure, it's fucking unbelievable. And that is due to the shield. And then I also think the arsenal is so epic, amazing. It has a ton of depth to it.
There's just so many good weapons.
We can start here. The Doom shotgun is.
Which one are you talking about? Are you talking about like there's two.
Yeah,
There's like the one that's more of like a
the close body one,
Okay.
and then I think they both are fucking awesome.
fully upgraded. The first shotgun that you get in the game, where it like lights the enemies on fire and becomes like a triple shotgun.
Yeah.
Feels fucking unreal.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah, the weapons in this game are very upgradable, and it's just consistently they keep on finding ways to one up already badass weapons. I think that the Doom shotgun that you get at the very start of the game, if that was just the base experience and you just had to play the entire game with just that shotgun, you would still be like, yep, the weapons in this game, or the weapon in this example, is fucking awesome. And then it just progresses in such an amazing way, whether it is through skill tree upgrades or it is through gaining new weapons. And it's so well paced out through these levels that, like, okay, it's been a couple levels, new weapon time, like, and it just works so fucking well. I love the kit that the Doomslayer gets in this game, and the shotgun's just one of the mentions. The pulverizer, the weapon that you see in the trailer with the skull that goes through the medieval wood chipper, as I like to call it, and just spews out the skull bits. It's like, that's good shit. That just feels
Really great.
really, really cool, and it looks cool. And the way that gets upgraded and progresses, like, there are certain things that I'm like, okay, if I do X, Y, and Z, then it adds. It's all awesome. Like, and I just keep on going back to the fact of, like, we talked about the story a little bit, and we'll talk about some other things that, like, detract from our experience. But, like, the core of this game, of the guns and the gameplay and the weapons and the enemy design, is just so excellent, and that's what you expect from id Software at this point, from these previous titles.
Yeah, my favorite gun was the accelerator, like the pulse rifle that starts like slow, and then the more you shoot it, just revs up and goes like faster. And with upgrades, it changes colors too to indicate like that it's kind of hit that next gear. Getting it to the highest gear is like one of my favorite things in a video game ever. It sounds amazing. It looks amazing. It just feels great to slay demons with it. Like, I would go out of my way to use that gun.
And we're not going to hop into every single weapon, because obviously there's surprises and stuff like that, and just things like, I don't really, we mainly want to focus on like trailer weapons and stuff like that, because unlocking the kit is so enjoyable in this game and everything. But, like, the kit that you get is fucking rad. It is so good. And I'm so, like, thankful that throughout the entire experience, I was excited to go and upgrade it. There was nothing that I was like, all right, I'm just going to stick with this. Like, the shotgun was my main weapon in this game, but I did try everything.
I do think that this was a note that they took from Eternal that I wish they kind of found a middle ground between the two, where in Eternal, it's like constantly making you switch weapons. You're like out of ammo. It's like, okay, use this weapon. And in Doom: The Dark Ages, you really are flush with ammo and don't need to change your gun that often. If you just like a certain gun, you can just go through the entire game with that gun. I had to actively be to myself like, okay, change your gun, do something different. You'll have like a different experience now with this different gun. And there are different enemies that kind of
Require
ask you
a different gun
to do it, or would probably be more efficient, but you don't need to switch by any means to be able to get through the level. So I wish there was a little bit more encouragement to switch it up.
Yeah, my question is, how often are the ammo drops? Stuff like that on harder difficulties. Maybe it gets a little bit more difficult. Maybe there's that Final 2 nature to it. But yeah, I only ran out of ammo a handful of times with certain weapons. I definitely was trying out other weapons, mainly just to try out other weapons. With that being said, the weapons that they give you are so good that I want to try them out. And like, so you 100% could just like stick with one weapon and probably be a-okay. But I was so thankful to be like, all right, let's move on to this bad boy. And you're just like, yep, that's awesome. It still is great. Yep. Oh man, I like the weapons in this game. Are the core of what this game is just so good, and that's the weapons and the shield and the Doomslayer.
The melee weapons. Let's talk about that a little bit. There's multiple melee weapons. I think these kind of replace glory kills, where you can like go up to an enemy and just hit E for me and bash them a couple times. You have like a charge up thing where you can get more. Like certain ones have certain amount of charges that you can hit the enemy with, and you have to wait for them to come back to be able to bash into them again. They look cool. I wish there was more variety in each of them. They're very useful in the game.
Yeah.
Like when like the melee is a core part of the loop, but when you get a new one, I was like, oh, like this doesn't feel decidedly different than the last one that I was using. Yeah.
Oh, I think that it does get progress in a way that's like pretty awesome. By the end of it, I was using a particular one for particular enemies, knowing how many swings I had with that, knowing what it would do to certain larger enemies and everything. I was like, okay, like the pacing out of that, I think was actually really well done. And upgrading those in a very similar way that you do with your normal guns is also, I think, very well done. I think that the melee weapons are maybe not as fun as the glory kills. Like I said, I played Some Eternal, so I do know the glory kills and everything, but it's not like a legitimate step down. I really think that it is a sideways step.
Yeah. Then let's talk about the Atlan real fast. Only a handful of chapters where you're in the Atlan.
Yep.
It's definitely a lesser focus. They insisted that the Atlan and the Dragon like had like a full-fledged gameplay experience surrounding it in addition to the regular Doomslayer Doom gameplay. I don't necessarily agree with that when it comes to the Atlan, personally. It's very basic where you run up to an enemy, you punch them, you charge up your like kind of super, and then you can utilize that to kind of do like a finisher on the enemy, and that's about it.
Yeah.
You're still dodging. It's similar to like how you would a parry, like as an attack comes in, you can hit the parry button, or for me it was the space button to like dodge left and right, and then hit another swing on them. It's very grand in scale. I just wish that there was more to it to make it so I'm not going from one of the best gameplay experiences that I've ever had in a video game to Atlan gameplay that is just kind of cool.
Yeah. I think that it's really interesting. I think the Atlan in some games are epic, awesome, all-timer experiences. But when we're talking about the Doom core gameplay being that like level of being an all-timer already, it is actually a step down. You notice it. You're less excited than you previously were when it comes to the gameplay loop.
If it was throwing me in this thing constantly and it progressed in the way that it did, like I would be way more annoyed about it. But the way that it's just sprinkled throughout, it's like really not very intrusive. It's fun. So it's like, okay, cool. We're doing this now. And we'll probably be back playing the normal gameplay
in like 20 minutes.
Yeah. So it's really, it's fun. I think it's an interesting idea. Definitely gives some added scope. You are this massive hulking beast in this world, and going against some of the bigger enemies, it's like pretty cool to just like see this all take place in front of you and participate in it and not be just like a cutscene or whatever. But it's not the Doom gameplay. Yeah. But to be fair, it's hard to be the Doom gameplay. The Dragon, though, I think is more finely mixed into the gameplay experience. Handful of times where you can get on the Dragon in certain levels, and you can get on, and similar to the Atlan, similar to the Parry, you have opportunities to lock onto like a turret that has a shield, where to use the full power of your turret on the Dragon and break the shield, you need to dodge a few times, perfect dodge one of the green attacks, and then you can light up that enemy and take its shield down and then move on to the next one. And that gameplay is fun. Flying around with like at high speeds, chasing down an enemy to get like more gold, get more upgrade material, and like the sound of it like kind of like chipping away at the enemy as you're shooting at them, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Like sounds really cool and feels pretty great as you're like kind of like weaving in and out of certain like caverns, following one of the enemies and lighting them up. I thought that was pretty fun.
Really fun. And this is with the Atlan and the Dragon. For me, they were just there was the perfect amount of them in the game. Like if they did any less, I would be like, wait, why do we even have these set piece moments? And if they did it any more, I would have been a little bit annoyed. But like, it was fun, in and out, get me back to my core gameplay, let me do something cool with the Dragon, like certain finisher moves on both sides. I was like, oh, that's awesome. Like that's really, really cool and everything. And like Connor said at the start of this, is hell yeah, the video game. There were those hell yeah moments for both of those gameplay mechanics. So I was like, yeah, sick.
And when it comes, the last thing on the Dragon, the fact that you're in this big, massive area, you have multiple things that you have to do to like take down these ships or land in these certain areas and kind of flip a switch or whatever. Of you take down the ship's defenses, and then you can board the ship, like flying into it and like landing, kill all the enemies on the ship, jump off of the ship, and then the dragon like comes under you and like catches you and everything. That shit's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
And it lends to this sense of scope to these environments that I think does add to the overall experience quite a bit. Whereas the Atlan, I think, is just very basic, fun, cool experience. I think that the dragon, I would like to see return. I think adds to the overall experience, and I dug it.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the core gameplay aspects. Let's talk about the environment, Professor. Do you have something?
No. I this is where I really wanted to hop in, which was the environments that are so when core gameplay, like what you're doing on the sticks, is part of it. The environments in this game, some levels are Atlan levels, some levels are dragon levels. Some levels of early on are a little bit more linear, but most of them are a little bit more sandboxy levels. Like there is a lot of places to go. There's a lot of secrets to uncover. There are a lot of some optional enemy zones and stuff like that. There are certain, environmental like puzzles that you'll go in. You have to use the shield to go in, drop a giant hunk of metal that you then bash in, then you're able to climb on top of and then get to a secret area and everything. All that in this game, I think, is really, really well done. And a large part of that is just having a fucking map that works.
The map
really,
is really
well.
good in this game.
The map in this game is really, really good.
It's that area's grayed out.
Yep.
I haven't been there.
Yep.
There's probably something there. Or it'll just have like a question mark there to be like, there's a secret here. You haven't been over there. So like maybe like head over towards there and go
if
check
you
it out.
want it, you can go and get it. And if you like, I remember there being a moment like early on, and we've just been busy with a lot of content stuff and everything. I was like, I'm gonna go and like maybe miss out on a couple of the side things real quick, and then I was like, gosh, like maybe like 3 levels in, I was like, I kind of want to go back and like get those side things. And I'm like, that is why this game is really, really good when it comes to the environments.
I might go play it on PS5 and platinum it because I think it's fun to just play the gameplay.
If the platinum of this game, and I don't know what it is, obviously I'm not a trophy dude, I don't look into that, like that's not something that's important to me. But if the platinum was just 100% every single level, I would be like, yep, I'm doing it.
100% every level, and maybe like some like weird challenges of like doing like an entire level with just one gun or something like that, and play on a higher difficulty.
No, I don't want it.
I want to experience the game on a higher difficulty.
No, seriously, my thing. I want to experience it. Let me play like beat the final level on higher difficulty or something like that. But I like finding those secrets extremely satisfying. The way that you upgrade your weapons are through getting gold and rubies and stuff like that.
Yeah,
like
different
gems.
upgrade materials for the higher tiers of your gun upgrades. You need these certain things. Like I fully upgraded certain weapons like early in the game. You can get, if you just pump all of your gold, all of your upgrade material into one weapon, you can get up there really fast, and that's just from going around the environment and checking everything out.
For me, I scattershot all of my things, which was probably not the best idea.
I had like 5 guns that I was like, you are fully upgraded, and then everybody else, you are second
Level
priority.
1. But yeah, no, I think that it is so well done with the map is so good. The secrets that you find are worthwhile. If you are like, I'm playing this game on a hard difficulty because I wanted a more difficult parry window, but my weapons don't feel like they're doing as much or whatever, it's like, you got to go and find those upgrades, and it's really easy. Like, I am known to not be a big fan of side content. The side content in this game of just exploring around and getting those extra secrets are so well done.
And it usually rewards you with the thing that you want to be doing anyways, which is more gameplay. Like, I just want to go slay some more demons, and if I'm going to go find a secret that will get me more upgrade material, usually along the way or around that area, it's like, okay, you got to fight a bunch of these enemies.
There would be moments in the core gameplay, and then sometimes in like a side area, where all of a sudden like red walls would pop up and to go and lock you into an area, and then a boss would spawn in, or a bunch of different demons would pop in, and like it's like, all right, it's go time, and then you would slay that, you're like, yeah, and then you get rewarded, and then you're just like, yes. Or the other way, when it came to gameplay, would be the environmental platforming type puzzly sections, and I think that all those in this game are actually really good. Like, very infrequent times in this title is in a platforming game? Is it a, hey, toss the shield and go around and do this? They never slow you down too much. There might be a moment where it's like, okay, toss the shield so you can jump over to the next section and then get into the, like, go. But most of the time, that is reserved for the side content. And I'm like, great. I think that it's great content, and I don't have to do it if I didn't want to. So
yeah, and no spoilers, but like the different, you and I think disagree on this a little bit. I think that the variety of environmental like art design, like where you go and what everything looks like, I think is pretty well varied.
Yeah,
pretty awesome. I like it quite a bit.
I think that it is all right. I think that is like, it's really funny too, because coming off of just the previous color palettes of the previous two Doom games is like a lot of red. Like it's just nonstop red. And I was like, I'm excited for it not to just be all red all the time. And it's not. But it's also like, I'm like, oh, they didn't like take any huge swings with some of these environments in the way that I'm like they could have and have done. I think that there are
some swings in some of them.
There are some moments.
Yeah.
But like generally, I don't think that it's unbelievable. There are a couple moments that I can point to, but that's like later in the game. I do think that some of the best stuff in this game also is later in the game. Stuff that we won't touch on in general, but like earlier on, it is really, really sort of one note in a way when it comes to the environments. And I'm like, like this just isn't like awesome. And I think that a lot of the way that I described Doom 2016 and a lot of this experience in general is like, this shit's so awesome. I love all of this. It's a lot like where I'm like, the gameplay's awesome, shield's awesome, and then it's everything else. I'm like, that's why it's not this amazing game. It is that 8 out of 10 great experience.
Real quick before we get completely away from the gameplay, favorite kind of experience when it comes to this game is there will be like a boss that you can't kill until you've killed everybody like in the area. So you're in an enclosed kind of like circular Coliseum type deal where it's like, this is your battlefield. Kill everything. And just flying around that environment, knowing that at the end of it, I'm going to have to fight a big bad, and you get usually like some sort of upgrade material, because there's upgrade materials that for your guns, but there's also just ways to like
upgrade your health,
upgrade your amount of ammo, stuff like that. That like that first time that experience, that opportunity comes up, I was like, this game fucking rules. Like that's when I fell in love with the gameplay sequence that I love those.
And there's a lot of those.
Yes.
And like you said though too, I think that the way that those arenas are set out too, where there's people up on platforms, there's people under like trenches a little bit, and like you that aren't super easy to find. And the coolest part would be like you would like take out a section of a bunch of people. You would turn, you would see a group of people lined up with their shields not red yet. You would shoot a weapon that does a little bit more damage towards one shield, get that one shield red, toss the shield, have it burst all the enemies beside it, and then go into the next like area of that battlefield. And you're just like
constantly moving.
Yes. Like,
still the same Doom feeling of just like you need to keep pushing forward.
Kinetic energy. This game has so much kinetic energy. It is redonkulous. It is go. I need to bring it back, Connor. The fun per minute, dude. The fun per minute when you were in just playing as the Doomslayer, off the charts.
Yes.
Off the freaking charts.
It took me 15 hours, 14 hours to finish it, somewhere in that ballpark.
Took me about 12.
And I will say that by the end of it, I was like, okay, I'm ready to be done.
Yeah,
I really enjoyed this, but like they do know when to end the game.
Does not overstay its welcome at all. Is just a kick-ass experience on Game Pass. That's another one of those things where it's like, it's such a odd experience to be like, that's another. This is another dub on for them on Game Pass and everything, because I do think the game is great and such an easy sell. You know, it's such an easy thing to be like, hop in, go.
Last thing. I think the soundtrack. Obviously, no Mick Gordon for this one. He did the soundtrack for Doom 2016, Doom Eternal. Some of the greatest soundtracks of all time. Iconic, even. The people that had come in to do this one, I do not envy them having to follow up a Mick Gordon soundtrack and be compared to that impossible situation. I think they do a damn good job. Is it as good as the soundtrack in those two previous games? No. I don't think that that's even possible, but I think it's still really great.
I I think even lower than you on it by maybe even a considerable amount.
Yeah.
I was playing on my TV and I was cranking the volume up. Like I wanted the music to be part of that experience in the way that it is in 2016. Because I remember when I was playing Doom 2016, cranking the volume up and being like dumbfounded with the way that the music makes me as a player and makes the Doomslayer just want to fucking destroy everything. And in this title, I don't think that the music pairs well enough with the core gameplay in a way that like amplifies what I'm doing on screen. And do I think that it's a good soundtrack? Yeah, sure. Like I think that's all right. I'm not like, there was moments that I would like be like, all right, like I need to go and like grab a water real quick, and I'm in an area where there's no demons or anything, and it's just like a little bit of an undertone like playing, and I'm like, okay, like yeah, that's cool, that's good. But like there was never a moment where I'm like, oh snap, the music just came in. Unless a couple times I'll give, there's a couple moments that I can point to and be like, yeah, but even then I'm just like, this isn't like the bat flip controller moment of like, yep, wrap it up, this is fucking awesome. And yeah, like you said, it's impossible to compare, but I'm just going to go and not even try to compare it to the previous Doom titles, but I'm just going to compare it to like what is happening with this title in general. And I'm like, that is not, in my opinion, like adding to the badassery of Doom in the Dark Ages. Like the soundtrack does not amplify this title in a way that I am like singing the praises of the soundtrack. Not in comparison, just in general of like, soundtrack's good, but it's not anything that I'm like, this is unbelievable. This is great. This is just a rock solid soundtrack to go and be a little bit of a background towards this unbelievable gameplay.
Yeah, I don't agree. I think it's great. Yeah. I think it's a great soundtrack. It's not as good as the previous two, but that's impossible. But I think it is a great soundtrack.
Which this is the classic thing when we review games. It's like, I'm happy that you're higher than myself on it. And I'm very curious to talk to more people about it when it releases, being like, am I wild with this one? Like, is this soundtrack bumping and I'm just wrong? And I'm happy to be incorrect when it comes to reviewing something like this. But yeah, like I think that it is just a little bit lackluster. And that like, it's really, this game was so difficult to review because I'm like, this game has some of the highest highs that I've had in gaming this year and in the past few years, and it's just so fucking fun. And goddamn, like there's gonna be moments in this game that I will never forget when it comes to gameplay aspects, and is super unique and awesome. The thing that I kept on bringing up to Connor, and it's really dumb, but like you're climbing up a wall early on and you're the Doomslayer, and you just like the way he flies up the wall and just bah, 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 and then gets on top of the thing is like so visceral and intense, and I'm like, I fucking love it. Like it's so cool. And then like I'm like, that's small but rad and awesome. And then there are things that I'm just like, it's just not for me. And like I really wanted something else or different. And but the result is still a really great product and really awesome.
Last question. Not necessarily specifically about Doom, but the year as a whole so far. Where is this ranking for you generally? You don't have to give me. Do you think it's better than Split Fiction? No.
You
give that a 9. Right?
I don't think this is in my top 5 currently.
It is number 2 for me.
Yeah.
I think it's sitting right next to Expedition 33. 2 games that I think are great at their core, but I have a few issues with them that hold them back from being these excellent experiences. I'm still waiting for that top tier experience for me on the year, but I think that there's moments where I was like, I think this is better than Expedition, and then as I went along, I was like, no, I think it's just like right next to it, right below it.
No, like this is for me still awesome. And like that's the, like I had extremely high expectations coming into it, and even though they weren't necessarily met overarchingly, they were exceeded in certain areas. And so like I'm still very satisfied with this experience as a whole.
Alrighty, that was your casual gaming news, or not gaming news conversation, bonus casual gaming conversation. We have Patreon names to read off. This show is made possible by Patreon, as we said at the top of the show. But we want to give a special shout out to the members at the Dearly Beloved tier who, for their support at that highest tier, get their name read at the end of each and every podcast. Members like MG Dunbar,
Mr. Munchies,
Farmer Spud,
Rocket Tater,
Nofi,
Apathetic Titan,
JC Falcon,
Swampy Bits,
Jaxie,
Sconzi,
Cheery Sentry,
Stracken,
Tyler D,
Scooterman,
Das Goopy,
Dinkelberg Rules,
Sunshiro,
Hook'em Horns,
Go Nash,
Neutral Sphere,
Charlie W,
Easton C,
Stooby Dooby,
Calvin M,
Nuke This Kingdom,
Crispy,
DJ Zach B,
JC,
Uli,
Jacob D,
Big Mac,
Metal Nate,
The Patty Cake,
Bear Pog,
Yogi,
Damn,
Holden M,
Conti,
Brock,
Voodoo,
Dr. Pookie Bear,
Andrew H,
Master Diz,
Jesse F,
Drifter X1, Skirt,
Presto,
Maverick,
Goops,
JMappy3,
Ali Ben Ali,
Michael, and one Rufus.
Yeah, only one Rufus.
Only one Rufus and Alex the Golden are not listed here, but we want to make sure that we get them shouted out. And lastly, Kingdom Hearts Sucks from Vorpal Matt. So thank you so much for watching this episode of the Casual Gaming Conversation. We'll see you in the next one. Peace out.